Hi, I'm Wanda from Alanda Craft, and today we're going to be talking about the Vevor Mug Press machine. Now, we've wanted one of these for a long time, so Vivo gave us the opportunity to choose a machine to review, and we selected this one. So let's get on and show you its features and show you what it can do. When we took the mug heat press out of the box and placed it on the table, we could feel just how solid this machine is. And looking around at the different parts, you can see how well put together it is. I like the design and I like everything about it. Everything you do with this machine feels positive, from pushing the lever back to screwing up the screws for your adjustment. Everything feels good. So you can see the chamber there, and on the front is the heat and time setting button, and very easy to use. So we're really liking the look of this machine. Now here's a few of the features, and if you'd like to see this in more detail, just pause the video. Now, as well as the machine, in the box you also get a manual which has clear instructions and is easy to follow. You get some heat-proof tape, a pack of sublimation paper, a power cable, and a pair of heat-resistant gloves which you will need when you're handling your hot mugs. Now, I found that setting this machine up was super easy. Just attach what's called the aviation connector to the machine on the side, and you just plug it in and turn the bolt that comes with it so that it holds it on. Just screw that up like that, and then you just plug in your power cord and plug into the power, and you're done. The machine works in both Celsius and Fahrenheit, and it's very easy to change. You just press and hold the start button for 6 seconds, and then you turn the switch to the left for Fahrenheit and to the right for Celsius. Then you press the button to lock in your selection. Now, when you turn on the machine in future, the temperature will be in your selected setting. Now, you're going to need a mug or a tumbler, but unfortunately it can't just be any old mug or tumbler. It has to be a sublimation mug, which is a special coating which allows the ink to be infused. Now, you can see that we're using the Cricut brand here, but there are loads of sellers of sublimation mugs, so check out Amazon, Temu or eBay, or if you're in the States, you could try a store like Michael's or a similar store. As you can see here, we're just testing the size of the mug in the machine. Now, this is a 12-ounce mug, but you can use a 15-ounce mug if you want. And bear in mind that with this machine, you can process 2 mugs in one go. Now, you can adjust it to suit different sizes by turning the hand wheels on the back, and this increases or decreases the pressure. And the goal is to have enough pressure to snugly hold the mug in place, but at the same time being able to comfortably close the handle. Now, in order to make this work, you need one of 2 things: some pre-made infusible ink sheets or a sublimation printer to print off your own designs. Unfortunately, we don't have a sublimation printer. We've certainly got it on the wish list, so we're going to go with infusible ink sheets. And as you can see here, we're using the Cricut brand. You can find generic brands online on Amazon and other sources. Haven't tried any of those, so do your homework and check out the reviews to make sure that they've worked for others. Now, the Cricut infusible ink sheets come in a roll, and this is what they look like when they're rolled out. They have the design on one side and a shiny finish on the other side. I'm going to cut the infusible ink sheet to size, and for the 12-ounce mug, I'm cutting a piece that measures 8 3/4 by 3 3/4, and this is what it looks like. Now, before you add your paper to the mug, you need to clean it well. So you can use a lint roller or you can use a soft cloth. You need something that will remove the dust and make it as clean as possible. And now we want to add our designs. So you simply wrap the paper around the mug with the design facing the mug and the shiny side facing outwards. Now, align it as best you can. Try leaving an equal distance on either side of the handle. Then you tape it down with some heat-proof tape. Now, we're using the Cricut brand here, but the machine also comes with its own tape, which we'll be using a little later in this video. You need to make sure that the paper is firmly attached to the mug without any gaps or bubbles. Now, as you can see, we also taped around the top and the bottom of the mug. By the time we got to our last mug, we didn't bother and it came out just fine. But add it if you feel you need to. You do you. Before placing it in the machine, we also wrap the mug in some baking paper. We want to keep the liner in pristine condition, so this is just a precaution against any bleed through of ink. So now it's time to set the temperature and the time on the machine. And in order to do that, you just press the start button, then you turn the dial to the right and you'll hear a beep sound. Now you can turn the dial to the left or the right to get the desired temperature. And once you're at the right temperature, you simply press the start button to lock it in. Now, you need to turn the dial to the left until you hear a beeping sound. You will notice that the digital display is now showing seconds, and from here you can now adjust the time by turning the dial to the left or right as needed. And once you have the correct time, click the start button to lock it in. The manual recommends 185 degrees centigrade at 260 seconds, but we went with 205 Celsius for 260 seconds, and that seemed to work for us. Once the machine gets to the right temperature, insert the mug into the machine, but the first thing we want to do is put on those heat-resistant gloves, as the machine is mighty hot at this point. Now we can slide the mug into place, and we want to get the handle aligned in the centre as best we can. And we can then pull the handle until it locks in place, and then we just press the start button on the front of the machine. Once the countdown completes, you can remove the mug from the machine. Now don't forget those gloves, because the mug will be mighty hot. Now it's a good idea to leave it to cool on a heat-proof surface for about 10 minutes until it's cool enough to touch. We have ours on a Cricut heat mat, but you can use a folded up towel to protect your work surface. So now for the exciting part, the big reveal. So we just need to carefully remove the tape and the paper and just peel it back until it's all loose, and then remove it completely. And doesn't that look great? I love that. And we also wanted to try cutting a design using a cutting machine. Now we're using our Cricut machine, but you can also use your scan and cut or a silhouette machine. And we use Cricut because they already have a mug design template in their software, so it just makes it easier. But as long as your cutting machine can do the kiss cut and you know the size of the template, then you'll be able to create your design. Now we'll have sizes and other details on our blog, so check for the link in the description field below. Now in the Cricut software, you just have to search for a mug template, and there are plenty of pre-made designs to choose from, but you can also create your own by using the mug design template, and that makes it much easier for you to have the base to work with, and you can see that on the screen there now. Now this was our first attempt at doing a mug, so to make it easy on ourselves, we went with one of the many templates that are available in the Cricut design space. So all we had to do was click Make It, and then on the next screen all you really need to do here is the mirror option, but you only need to do that if you've got something like text, for instance, that needs to be reversed. Otherwise, simply click on Continue, and then you just come over and you select the Infusible Ink Transfer Sheet option. And then in the pressure section, we changed it to less, as during our first cutout, the blade cut right through some of the sections instead of doing the kiss cut. So we went with a lighter pressure. All we need to do now is load our mat with our infusible ink sheet on it and press the start button. And of course there's the weeding process, but you don't need to see all of that. Now fortunately it's not too difficult, and you can just bend the sheet back a little bit to peel off those bits of your design that you don't want to infuse on your mug. And this is what it should look like. And don't forget to peel off the end bits as well. Now we just have to go through the same process that we did with the mug that you saw previously. So we start by giving the mug a good clean. Then we wrap the infusible ink sheet around the mug, ensuring that it is lined up correctly and it is tight and secure. And then we add some tape to keep everything in place. And here we're using the heat tape that came in the box with the Vevor Mug Press. And we inserted the mug into the machine, and for this one we went with the settings in the manual, which was 185 degrees Celsius and 260 seconds. And once it was done, we removed it from the machine, keeping our gloves on, and we left it to cool for about 10 minutes before we removed the tape and the paper. Now you can see there how easy the paper comes away. Now this one didn't come out as good as I would have liked. There was some ghosting around the edges, but this comes down with practice. After all, this was our very first attempt at using a mug press, and I know that we'll get much better as we go along. But I love the design, and it's just the edges that let me down. Now there was also some line marks on the edges, but they actually came off with just a bit of rubbing. And there's some spots on the mug. Maybe an expert might like to help us out here, but I'm thinking it's either part of the infusible ink design, or more likely the mug or infusible ink sheet had some dust on it or something else. So for the next mug, we decided to do a flower pattern, and this one also came from the Projects and Cricut design space. This one took a bit of weeding, but I really like the final result. However, you could also do this in reverse, so when you're doing your weeding, you could take off the outline and just leave all the solid pieces there, and that would have a totally different look. But I think it looks really good. For our final design, we decided to create our own mug, so we found a font we liked from Creative Fabrica and typed in a quote on one side of the mug. And then we found an image in Cricut Design Space to add a pattern to the other side. And I think this looks really, really good. In hindsight, probably would have moved the quote around a little bit more. But hey, I'm really happy with it. Well, I have to say that was a lot of fun. So we really enjoyed using the Vevor Mug Heat Press, and it's a really solid machine, easy to use and easy to set up. Now, if you want more information about the machine and our projects, then please go over to the website at alandacraft.com. And if you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you next time.